Welcome back in a real way. I want to talk about one of the communication breaks between men and women, and that is, it seems women only want men to serve them. Let me correct that. Women only want men to be men when they can serve them, and that's in the realm of everything. If be it in a family unit, be it in a personal, uh, regular friendship relationships, things of that nature, um, or in every aspect, like they only want a man to be a man when they can serve them. So like, I'll give you an example. Like you have this model that they want to put forth of like protection versus concession. And what I mean by that is if there's some kind of threat coming from the outside world towards them, then they want you to protect them, you know. However, when they're making a decision that's harmful for themselves, they want you to concede and let them do whatever it is they want to do. And the only thing really fucked up about that is the man is still blamed, the man is still held accountable either way. If I let some shit happen to you from the outside, it's my fault. If I let some shit happen to you by your hand, it's still my fault because I'm supposed to lead. I'm supposed to, you know what I'm saying? So I can't concede. But when I don't concede, you view it as me being combative or not hearing you and not validating your feelings. When a lot of times that's not even the case. You know, it's not even a conscious thought as a man. Like, which is why a lot of times we lie to you because we be protecting you from a reality that you can't stomach, you can't deal with. You know what I mean? Even sometimes we have to protect you from ourselves. Um, the second one would be decisions versus debates. And what I mean by that is, again, when it comes to the world and the duties in regard to establishing certain resources or what is it called, provisions. You want the man to be, you know, right in the front making the decisions. He shouldn't have to come to you and consult you or whatever the case may be, you know. But at the same time, you will want to make decisions on your own volition that affect everybody. You know what I'm saying? And when approached about that, now you want to debate. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't have it both ways. Like we either we in or we out. And I'm not saying that a man should have full control. You know what I'm saying? But I am saying that you should be with a man that you can trust to make wise decisions on your behalf, and you know he has your best interest at heart. So it shouldn't be a debate of where he's coming from. You know what I mean? Like I've been in situations where even on the subtlest like level of like jokes and shit, like where I could be in the car with a girl and say, you know, we I don't know, on our way somewhere we ain't never been before. And uh in the process of getting there, like say we're not using uh, 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 Google Maps or Waze or anything like that, and in her mind she will purport a challenge against me in regard to her accomplishing a certain thing. Does that make sense? Like, or like say she's driving and it's like, oh, you know, we get there. Yeah, you thought I ain't know how to get there. I'm on your side. Like, why would I think that? Like, both of us are dependent. You know what I mean? Like, both of us benefit in arriving to the place at the right time. So, like, why would I be against you? Oh, I'm just playing. You just playing, but that's how you think. You know what I mean? Like low level on some subconscious level, you think I'm your enemy. And that's fucked up. Because I don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? So like it's wild, like man, like we really do get it from every angle. Pause. So and like you know, those vague intricacies are things that you have to pay attention to. You know, you have to listen to what a person is not saying as well as what they're saying. And another one is like persistence versus like inconsistency. Like when it comes to what they want you to do, they want you to try and try and try again. But when it comes to what you require from them, they just I'm trying and it's enough, even though no progress is being made. Like little by little your progress could be being made, but it's still not really going to register because it'll be held back against the man as like but I had to tell you how many other times, like, but progress is a slow process, right? But you should be able to see the steps. You should be able to see some sort of ascension, some sort of growth. But a lot of times with the women, there is no growth with them. All they do is say they try, and then they revert back to their particular routine, and that it really comes from their. I believe it comes from a particular survival strategy that they were imbued with from birth, in which because they are women, they aren't equipped to handle certain situations the same way that we are. And what I mean by that is, as a man, if there's a situation, I'll frame it this way. As a man, you have the capacity to either think your way out of a situation, and if it becomes too dire, you can at least fight your way out of the situation. Women on a natural level typically don't have that second option because they are the fairer sex. They are not as physically strong to deal with certain obstacles in a brute manner. You know what I'm saying? So they have to do their thinking double time. So they do preemptive thinking, which can border on and sometimes includes manipulation. And it's not manipulation in a malicious sense. It's just the fact of trying to put things in order for their best result. You know what I mean? For their best benefit. Because if it steers down a particular street, they know they won't be able to come back from it, and it can get dire. You know what I'm saying? It can get dire. It's the same way as like, if a man is trying to approach them and they don't necessarily, feel the guy, they'll be pleasant. And, even to the point of giving him a fake number. You know what I'm saying? Like just to get out of the situation, because as men, we have the propensity of becoming physically violent, and they aren't capable of, getting out of that situation, without some help from somebody else sometimes. So it's better to just, lean into it and, manipulate it a particular way so that, okay, a little lie, but, that's the least, what you call it, the best case scenario is me giving you a little bit lie, and you walk away with your ego feeling okay until you find out it's a wrong number, or you know what I mean, shit can go left, and now she's all kind of bitches or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Like these are things that they have to weigh and they have to keep in mind pretty much at all times throughout their lives. So you got to keep that in mind as men. But again, that's my point. As men, we're aware of shit like that. We're taught that world exists for them, but they aren't really taught about our world and how we operate. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the communication barrier, in all actuality, there's some steps that women are going to have to take in order to meet us at the middle. We're already at the middle. We've been taught And shit, this last generation been raised by pretty much mostly women. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to how women operate, how women behave, and things of that nature, like I'll never say how women think, but I'll tell you, how they behave. You know, where men are at the middle already. We've been educated in your ways, but women haven't really been educated in our ways, and that's still present in the fact that when little kids, little boys, are taught, not to hit little girls, but little girls aren't taught not to hit little boys. It just is what it is. Men are prepared for the world to deal with the women of the world, but women aren't prepared to deal with the men of the world. And it kind of shows you that societal standard is dictated by women, because when you're dealing with any type of mystery, you look at who benefits, and typically when you can find out who benefits, you can pretty much find out who orchestrated the shit in the first place. That's just simple deductive capability. But moving forward, one of those communication breakdowns is that women interact with men the same way they interact with women, and women have a certain diplomacy in which everything is kind of passive aggressive, everything is kind of disingenuous, but this is the currency among them though. So like they all agree to the rules, so they all play by the rules. But as men, we have a different diplomacy amongst ourselves. So when we're met with that, it's insulting to our intelligence, because we have a tendency of trying to be as direct as possible. Like honestly, no man likes lying to women. You know what I'm saying? If you're a man and you like lying to women, then you need I don't know, because lying suggests a fear aspect. You know what I'm saying? We would much rather be able to tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? However, when you're dealing with lying, that means you're afraid of something. Either afraid of the outcome, afraid of the person. You know what I mean? That type of stuff, which is a concession of power. You know what I'm saying? And most men don't like to concede, especially over something like that. Like they don't really want to concede power in any faculty, all things being real. You know what I'm saying? Like you feel like a bitch, and no man wants to feel like a bitch. No one, especially not choosing to feel like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? So like if you're not, I had a thing where I was like, I used to say, if you're not like the IRS or a police officer, why the fuck would I lie to you? Like, those are the only people who really held any power and authority over me at that particular time in my life. So, like, why lie to you? You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times there becomes little intricacies in which you're not even lying for you anymore. You're lying for the other person sometimes. You know what I mean? And now that can breed resentment, because now it's like I can't even be myself around her, because if I show her who I really am, it's going to hurt her. So now I have to lie, and maybe not all the time, but just in certain instances, and act like, I'm not attracted to other women, or, I don't like being complimented by, as much as she likes being complimented, or, you know what I mean? Things like that. You start putting shit like that to the side and acting like certain things that you actually do need in order to survive as a normal human being. You act like you don't need those things in order to make another person feel well, feel better about themselves. And that's not fair for anybody. So there's another example of how women interact. Now I don't know if they do this with women, but I know for sure they do this with men. And that's the emotional diversion or deflection, and that's in regard to like, say, a bowl of milk spills. A bowl of milk is spilling. It's about to get into the table and the computers and whatever's. You know what I mean? So you like, hey, grab me a paper towel real quick. You know what I mean? So I can get this shit up. They're like, who the fuck you talking to? Why you gotta scream at me like that? So automatically we're already diverted from the topic at hand, which is the fucking milk being spilled, to my talking, which is really not the issue. It's really just a reaction, just a response to A. You know what I'm saying? Which is the real problem. I'm like, look, we don't really have time for this. The shit's about to get into your computer. You know what I'm saying? Can you hurry up? Oh, now you cussing at me. So now we on level 2 of the emotional diversion and deflection, and we still haven't addressed the fucking milk that's spilling. You know what I'm saying? And as a man, by this point, you see where it's steering, and a lot of times you just try to dead it, get to the bottom line. Like, yo, shut the fuck up, get what the fuck I'm asking you for. Oh, now you hurt my feelings, and then she goes to cry mode. You know what I'm saying? That's the third level of emotional diversion and deflection, and we still haven't addressed the problem, which is the spilled milk. This is the shit that men deal with on a daily basis. Not just with the women that they're in like intimate relationships with, but you got to deal with this with women at the store, fucking women at the fucking DMV, fucking the women in your family, the fucking, you know what I'm saying, the fucking police woman. Like they all do that. They all do that. They all do that. They expect you to stay up here with the passive aggressive shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's supposed to be, they expect a volley back and forth. Like, I say this and you say this, and then I say this and then you say this. And you know what I mean? Like, that's the sass game. Men they're not supposed to sass. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to get the motherfucking problem done. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm hungry. I got my motherfucking breakfast over here. But, so the male method of actually engaging, debating, discussing, and problem solving is now ruled as toxic masculinity. You're hyper masculine. You're over aggressive. But this is how problems get solved. I'll give you a perfect example. Every time some shit happens, right? Like, say police brutality, that some shit takes place. This is one of the things I always hate. They would say, yeah, you know, now we can have the discussion. A discussion didn't get us in this fucking problem. So a discussion is not going to get us out of this problem. And that shows you that the world is adopting that passive-aggressive, feminine type of mentality in regard to addressing problems. Like, that's that boardroom shit. Like, it's professional bullshitting. It's not really getting to the root of anything. It's pacification. It's pacification. You tell motherfuckers what they want to hear until shit fucks up that whole quarter, and then you have another meeting. Then you tell the motherfuckers what they want to hear, and by the end of the fucking year, you realize the whole fucking company's going under. Because all we've been doing is having meetings, which is pageantry about bullshit. It's playing pretend. It's playing make-believe. You know what I'm saying? And men, like, we not into that shit. Not, you know what I mean? Like, we know we're about the bottom line, man. We're about the bottom line, because at the end of the day, we're still going to be held accountable for it. You see what I'm saying? We're still held accountable for how things go. But y'all want to play pretend in the method of getting there, but have the fucking bag drop on somebody else's dime. That's not cool. We got to do better. And specifically, not we, y'all got to do better. Look, I'll show you how much women don't enjoy being accountable, right? I used to do this on Twitter all the time. Whenever there's an issue with women, never say women on Twitter. Say people. If you say women, they're going to give you a bunch of backlash. If you say people, they'll agree. They just, you know what I'm saying? They just don't want to be responsible. They want to hide in the crowd. But the thing is, you talk about this power, you talk about this black magic, this black girl magic, and we believe you, we agree. But you don't never want to show the real magic. You know what I'm saying? You don't ever want to show the real magic. Y'all got the opportunity to turn the whole shit around. I told y'all, I don't know if y'all heard this before, but like, when you're dealing with societal standard, that's women. There's more women in society than it is men. And the men that do have power positions in society, quote unquote, in the populace, in civilization, are doing everything for the access, approval, and acceptance of women. So that makes y'all the greatest influence. Act like it. So if we dealing with any type of societal standard that y'all don't like, That's based off other women. What I realize is pretty women versus ugly women. Now that's some shit that'll bake your noodle, but that's probably for another day. This is another reason why, because of how women interact with each other, and they expect the worst out of those interactions. Like they don't, they'll tell you, I don't trust women. I don't really get along with many other women, or how women can be catty and stuff like that. They're admitting how abusive women can be. This is why, in the current state of women's equality and things of that nature, submission is viewed the way that it is viewed, because it's a projection. They look at it as slavery or some shit like that, because, and it's rooted in a mistrust, because they themselves feel like they wouldn't be able to be trusted with that sort of authority, with that sort of role. You understand? They don't trust a man to drive in that capacity, because they know they couldn't be trusted to drive in that capacity. I learned this in regard to women in their interactions with men in general. It's always typically projection, again, like I said, because they've never learned how men are. They operate with us how they think. So when you ask a woman, what do you think a man wants out of a relationship, she's going to tell you what she wants. Even in regard to the successes and the things that they have, they're doing what they want you to do, and they resent it. So like all these accomplishments and shit that women have, they'll be talking, I got this degree and I got that degree and I got this. To men, we don't give a fuck, because we're not looking for y'all to take care of us. So that shit don't matter to us. You know what I mean? It's cool that you've accomplished those things, because it does internally help with your investment. It helps with your esteem. You know what I'm saying? But as a man, like, we want the same thing from the chick at Popeyes that we wanted from, whoever the baddest bitch is in Hollywood. Like, we don't really give a fuck if you can read or not. If I like you enough, I'll read for you. You know what I'm saying? That's how men are. You know what I mean? But women are out here trying to sell what they're trying to buy. So they're trying to be the reflection of the nigga they want. The thing is, the way the world is set up, the leadership impetus in most black men will not allow us to submit to the authority of another individual. So what I mean by that is, you're not going to find the type of men you're looking for in the places that you excel. Does that make sense? Because in order for you to excel, it's based on your not even positive, it's based on your traits. You see what I'm saying? So as a woman, you have a propensity of being able to be to concede to bullshit more than a man would, or to seemingly be non-threatening, where a man doesn't really have that aspect. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when women were complaining about wearing certain hairstyles, you know what I mean, to work. Like, they get treated a certain type of way at work when they wear their hair a certain type of way. Yeah, but you still at work. A black man, he might not even get the job simply because he's a black man. Don't give a fuck if he got a bald head, a curly hair, dreads. None of that shit matters. They look at us a certain type of way. So the places in which you can get in and navigate and all that shit is attributed to who you are, is attributed to the gifts that you have. As a woman, we typically aren't really allowed in those spaces, because we are perceived as a threat. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? So when you get into these places, you know what I mean, it's not a knock to how great you are, how intelligent you are, and how proficient you are in your job. It's just that the climate itself, the circumstances itself, the atmosphere itself is built for somebody like you to flourish. You know what I'm saying? It's built like that. Corporate America is built like that. It's built to be passive aggressive. It's built to be, be snide in your emails and shit like that. Like, that's not. It's not. Those are unnatural positions for black men, alpha men in general. Alpha men typically want to work for themselves. That's why you have niggas being, their own bosses and builders. Like they want to do shit with their hands. They want to fix problems. They want to be plumbers. They want to be electricians. These are things that are always going to be necessary on some level. Corporate America may not always be necessary, man. We've seen plenty of movies where, after the great, blackout or some shit, like motherfuckers is reverted back to fucking riding horses and shooting rifles and shit. You know what I mean? Your typing skills ain't gonna help you then. So like, to view a man as a failure because he's not operating or excelling in the realms that you are is a backwards mentality. That's you projecting female what's the term? Engagement goals, quote unquote. Female interaction goals on men. And it shows how, again, that, y'all don't really understand, how we are. You know what I mean? A nigga would rather be a trash man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we feel, I don't know. It's different. You know what I mean? It's different. Like, I was talking to my brother before, and I'm like, yo, like, my job, don't get me wrong, it's good bread, but it's not important. Like, don't get me, like the entities that we work for in the jobs that they do are important, but we're just a bunch of middlemen in the middle. You know what I'm saying? So like my job is not improving the world. You know what I mean? Which is why I do extra shit on the side in order to feel like I'm actually adding some value or adding some beauty to the world. You know what I mean? So like the busy work, just stuffing envelopes and shit like that, like that shit is not making the world go round in real life. You know what I'm saying? That shit is not leaving no impact, no real legacy. You know what I'm saying? You're not a nurse. You're not a, you know what I mean? You're not a teacher. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna remember you for what you did all those years. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about my resume. I'm worried about my obituary. But that's for another time too. Oh yeah, and this is another thing that women do when interacting with men. They become disingenuous in arguments and debates and discussions. So like when you say something like, most women blah 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 blah, they'll act like, well, I don't. Okay, well, the women I know don't. That's a lie. But you're only saying that to prove your point. You know what I'm saying? When the points don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, you so off base that you're not even peeping that once we come together on this, we've solved the problem. But you don't even have the capacity to realize that a problem can be solved because you are into the exchange. Like, you just want to play. You know what I mean? Like, I even noticed that too when it comes to like the fight for equality and shit like that. It's not that they want to do what men do. They want the opportunity to say no. And that's some real shit. They don't want to drill into the middle of the earth and find fucking oil and ores and shit like that. They just want the opportunity to be like, oh, to get the application in front of them too and be like, oh, no, thank you. They want the freedom to say no. They don't want us deciding for them. Even though they're going to say no anyway. But this goes back to the shit I was talking about earlier. Like, they only want men to be men when it can serve them. You see what I'm saying? When I can make the decision and I know what you want to do, now you feel like, oh, you swear you know me. But I do. What's wrong with me knowing you? I've learned you. You should be happy. I'm adapting. But they wanna be, a lot of times they wanna be continue to be mysterious and vague so that they have the opportunity to either duck accountability or lie to you. You know? That's why, a lot of times in the dating atmosphere, they will rather date a stranger than somebody that they know. Because there's more opportunity to lie to a stranger. You know? Meanwhile, the person that knows you, if they're, if they're with you, like they love your dirty draws. You know what I mean? But maybe they're not as interesting to you anymore. Familiarity breeds contempt, as they say. But that's all I got in the moment, man. I hope I didn't ramble on and spin in too many different directions. Hopefully you got something valuable from it. And women, man, take some time. Listen to your men, man. Talk to your men. Find some methods and some strategies to, be able to sit your emotions on the side and really find out how we work. Because y'all are the ones that are behind the eight ball. Like, don't get me wrong, the successes and shit that y'all have made, that's grand. And, I feel, I know y'all think those are advancements, but in the realm of black family and understanding, that's where y'all are behind. Y'all haven't taken any time to actually understand your men. And I'm not just your men, like the men that you want to deal with, man. We're talking about your sons. We're talking about your brothers. We're talking about your fathers. You know what I mean? This is us. This is us. Or some, some NBC shit. Or whatever the fuck channel that comes on. So, yeah, man. Get at me, y'all. I love y'all.